One of the most popular requests I get from clients is, can I create a call to action block or section? And the answer is yes, but can I do it with the built-in Teachable blocks? Let's find out. Okay, here we are inside my Teachable school, and we've got a blank canvas here, and we're going to start off with the button. The button is primarily the first thing you're going to need when you have a call to action, because you need them to do something. And typically it's a click of a button or the click of something, a link that takes them somewhere or lets them do something like open up a form or maybe even just simply scroll down the page. So let's see what Teachable's button can do by default. So if we click on button over here on the left and then add, we get the options to go to URL or we get to go to a checkout page. Now the checkout page will only work if you actually have a plan set or a price set for the particular products, which we don't, but typically you'd have the drop down with all the different prices for that particular course or product or plan or whatever it is that you have there. We are going to jump back over to the URL, and then that gives us an option to actually put a link in here. It's a little bit misleading because they're indicating here, if you know a little bit about HTML, that we can put a bookmark here. And bookmarks are essentially a hashtag and then a word. In this case, we're using bookmark. And that would typically let you scroll down to the bottom of the page or scroll down to the page or jump to the page where the ID is in HTML for bookmark. This doesn't work on Teachable, however. Let's set a button text and we can just set this to sign up and that will change the sign up here. Now, if we click over here and preview what we have here, you get the button, which is what we want. But if we click on this, it actually opens up a new page. But if we actually do a little bit of investigation with Google Chrome and inspect the actual link, bring that over here, and we can see here, we'll zoom in on this here, we can see that the bookmark that is given us, or the link that is given us, is https / hashtag bookmark, and that is an invalid URL. What we just want it to be is if we edit this here, we actually only want it to be that hashtag bookmark. But Teachable is not letting us do that, and there's no way around this from what I can see. Also, it's adding a target of _blank, which is opening a new tab when you click the button, which again, we don't want that to do if we wanted it just to scroll down the page. So we're kind of already stuck when it comes to using the built-in buttons. But let's say that we try something different and we want that to go to a new page. We can say that we want that to go to google.com as an example. And then we can preview that. Just refresh the page here. Click on sign up and you'll see that it takes us over to google.com. So that works if you wanted to take them off the site or off the page or even back to the same page, but in a new tab. We could essentially have them go to my school again, teachable.purplehippo.io / let's say we do a hashtag here of pricing options. Then if we preview this, refresh the page, click on the sign up, it'll take us to the pricing options bookmark on the page that I selected. So it does kind of work, but it still opens up a new page, which we don't want to do. We don't want to confuse our visitors by taking them to multiple pages. So what do? Well, we could just go with that and just say, okay, that's how we're going to do it. But then how do we design the rest of the call to action? Right now it's just a button. Typically call to actions will have some information is what the call to action is all about. Hey, sign up here, or here's some information. Now click the button. This is not giving us that. So we need to find a way to add some more information above, or probably not below, but certainly above the button that we have here. And how to do that on Teachable? Assuming, of course, that we're not going to worry about the button taking us to the wrong place, we'll have to do that with HTML. Maybe we'll do that later on in the video. But we want to just add a text box. And then we click on add. We get the text box underneath. We want to go back and rearrange things. So let's put the text box above it by just dragging the little 6 dots here and dragging it up and down. And it'll let you reposition the block above or below the existing block that you want to move around. So let's click on text and let's just get rid of all of this paragraph. Maybe they just get rid of the first 2 paragraphs. It's kind of a bit better. And maybe, for example, text, we can say something like sign up to our newsletter. And maybe we want this to be not heading 4, but heading 2. I wouldn't use heading 1 simply because heading 1 is typically reserved for the title of the page at the very top of the page. So we've got newsletter. We can get rid of that space there too. Bring it back again, actually. What Teachable does quite a lot is add a blank line underneath. You want to make sure you delete that blank line. But we've also got too much of a gap here. So how can we fix that? So over in design here, we can actually go down to the bottom over here and we can say, okay, the bottom of this block, we want that to be not 60 pixels. We want it to be 0. And that will also pull it down. And similarly, but on the other side of things, we want to go to the button, which you can just select by clicking on the section here, or you can go back over to the left-hand side and select button. We want to go to design here too, and we want to go to the top and set that to 0. And that will get rid of some of the spacing and padding that we have between the sections, although it may be too much or too little perhaps. So in fact, maybe for this one, I'm going to leave that at 10 pixels for now, and we may be able to adjust that. One other thing we can do while we're here is we've got a background color of white. Let's set that to something like this blue color. I just happen to have that in the clipboard. We're just going to use that. But we also want to set that to the same as the color of our text box. So let's just go back up here and we'll set that to a blue color too. But now the black on the blue is not so good. So we can actually change the color of the heading here to white. So I just clicked on the box here and I just dragged the little indicator up to the top left, which lets us select white. You can also go over here and set 255, 255, 255 manually. Or you can literally just type in here FFF, FFF, and that will also set things to white. So the bottom of this text here, you can either set it with the spacing rather, you can either set that with adding some padding to the bottom here, or in the content you set itself, you can actually enter just a couple of times and it'll give you more space below. Or if you want a more specific control of the padding below, you can add it on the design area over here like we talked about. So I'm going to remove some of that because it's too much. Okay, so over here underneath the sign up to our newsletter text, we're going to add something else, and we could probably just add something like, I don't know, stay up to date with latest news and exclusive offers. Exclusive offers. There we go. And of course, you would change this to whatever your message you want it to be for that particular call to action. So that's actually not too bad. And if we preview this, click over here and preview, it's a fairly decent call to action. You might want to have a bit more information on your subtitle area here, but it gets the point across. This is what we want you to do. We want you to sign up. Now, this would typically take you to maybe another form on a ConvertKit page that they could then actually enter their email and their name and get added to your newsletter, or it can take them somewhere else. But remember, this has to take them off the page or back to the same page, but in a new tab, because that's the way that Teachable works, unfortunately. So what do we do if we actually wanted to have a bit more control over it? Well, we can write this same block using HTML, and in fact, we don't even have to write the same block with HTML. We can just write the button part of it with HTML. So if we were to go back over here and just hide this button, in fact, let's leave it for now. Let's go over to HTML, custom HTML. If you don't have this custom HTML block, you need to open up a service ticket with Teachable, either web chat or just a regular ticket, and ask them to turn on HTML blocks for your school. I believe you need, I don't know if you need basic plan. You probably need pro plan and above, but you may be able to get it on a basic plan. I don't know. You probably can get it on free plan, but you need to ask for it if it's not already turned on in your school. So you need to do that part. So custom HTML, click on add, which we already did. And do I have not two? I don't, so I've only got one here. We are going to rename this HTML button. And essentially we're going to replicate what we have here, but we're going to use HTML. So what I'm going to do is just a div class of group button. Oh, goodness me. We're going to give it an ahref of, and here is where we can actually write pricing options. Okay. So now, and we could say sign up like that, but we need to give this a class so we can do some styling on it. So we'll give it a class of custom btn, and then up here we're going to have style, and we're going to say group button custom dash button, and we're going to give it background. I have no idea what color that background is. We'll have to find out what color the background is. Inspect this. So the background is the brand secondary, which is this color here. Let's grab that color, close that down, come back over here. Just say that's the color. And the color of it is white. So we're going to just do that. We're also going to make sure that we get some padding and whatnot around the button within the group button class. So group button, and I've spelled group wrong. Button padding. I think the padding top we put is 0, didn't we? So we're going to say 0 top, right, bottom, 60 pixels, and 0. We'll do it like that. I know there's probably a shorthand way we can do that, but let's just do it like that for now. Display flex, align items, center, justify, contact, center. And we also want to probably say this here is display top, right, bottom. Okay, so that's why it's not giving us a top. We just give this 10 pixels. There we go. But we also want to make the button here with some padding, so we got some space around it, and I don't really know what that is. I mean, I can go look and see what that is, I suppose, but we can just do 2040, see how it works. It's not quite right, but it's probably a width of this, I don't know, 100, no, maybe 250 pixels perhaps. Yeah, it's pretty close. And we need to do text center. Text align center. There we go. I should center the text, and we want to say font size of that looks about 24, maybe, but 20, 18, maybe it's just 18, but it looks like it's bold. Actually, it looks like 16 perhaps. 16 font weight of 700, or you can use bold if you prefer. So that looks pretty similar, except for the border radius, which is the curves at the side. So border radius of 50 pixels. That should give us a nice round edge. So that's not quite the same, but it's very similar. I think it's just the padding that we need to just reduce a little bit. So the padding on the top and the bottom is probably just a little bit too much. Let's just make that maybe 15. There you go, that's pretty accurate. And the background color, background of, I have it on my clipboard. Let me just grab it from my clipboard. This one here with a hash in front of it. There we go. So that's the button that we just created in HTML, which is the same as what Teachable does. Slightly different, but we could get it refined if we needed to. And in fact, we could actually look at the code over here and get the exact color, well, the exact dimensions of the button if we needed to over in inspect. We can click on the class and we can look at this information here. So it's 13 and 18, and the size of the font, etc. We can get all that information from Google Chrome, and we can set that as we need to. But for now, it's pretty accurate. It doesn't really need to be edited too much. So what we can do over on the default one that Teachable gives us, we can actually just hide that or delete it. So we can click on hide for now, and it'll move our own one up to fit underneath the original text. So now we've got our HTML button, which looks exactly the same as the Teachable one, going to the bookmark of price and options. And if we were to add a block here, custom HTML, and we'll add a div of ID equals price and options, just leave it like that. We can actually just put inside here price and options. It's not going to be pretty, but it'll do the job. Price and let's do it this way. There we go. So this is price and options, but we want to make sure that there's something in between that. So we'll add another HTML block in between. We'll just say style, height, 2000 pixels. Okay, so that should be added before the other block, like that. So now we have to scroll down the page by 2000 pixels before we get the pricing options. So when we preview this and reload the page, it's going to load up our page, slightly different, but it was very similar. Where we want to jump down to is way down here. So, but if we click the sign up button, it actually jumps down to where we are. So that is exactly what we wanted to do, but we did have to add our own HTML code for the button. But it was very simple. And in fact, I'm going to give you this code in the description down below. So if you found this video useful or helpful and you want more, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you again. Bye-bye.